It may look like any old solar wax melter, but it's not. It's something special. Well, at least it is to me. This is about a year in the making for me. Thinking about it. But, you've watched my videos, procrastinating about it, but finally got it done and excited. So what makes this a little bit different? What makes this kind of different is this thing completely comes apart. All the sides pull off, and once it's done, I'll just leave this off for a second. You can see the inside of here. Once everything comes up and comes off, folds down, it all folds into the bottom box. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. And it crushes to about that size. You got the pan, still kind of big. It's got holes in it, you're not going to use it for paint, but it crushes down. Reason being, see that shed up there? Yeah, I thought, oh, all my bee stuff will fit in that just fine. Well, nope, I filled it the first day. Most of the garage, that's full too. Back room, that's full too. Starting to keep stuff out at the farm, that's going to get full too. So space is an issue the bigger I get, not here, but in beekeeping. So to be able to fold this down and keep it in a tight and compact way is exactly what I want. So how did I make this? What were the thoughts behind it? Well, we're gonna go inside and I'm gonna start right from the beginning and show you how this all came about and how I put it together. And if you're interested, you could make one too. Okay, let's go inside. But before we go too far, just a real quick public service announcement. Yep, I had a little bit of basal cell carcinoma taken off my face. This is actually my 4th time. If you're watching this, the chances are you're part of the 87% of my demographics that are over age 50 and you're male. That's the demographics. So if you fall into that group, and even if you don't, if you see something that just doesn't look right and you've never been to a dermatologist, make an appointment, go and get it checked out. It takes just a minute. The horror stories that she was sharing with me when I had this done 3-4 days ago just make me shudder. Just do it. Don't let vanity get in your way. Don't go, well, I'll take care of it soon. Take care of it now. That's it. Okay, back to this. Well, now that you've seen it in action, and I'm really excited about how this all turned out, I'm gonna go back in time and show you how I built it. This is the parts. There's just not a lot to it. And these are all gonna go together to make what you just saw. The only thing I don't have right now, and that you saw a few minutes ago, is the top, but we'll go through the process of making that as well. I cut everything out previous because you don't need to see me cut. And here's the key to this whole process. I'm not going to give you sizes because sizes will only make sense if you bought the exact same things I bought. And you may or may not. Paint tray, I think I got it at Home Depot or one of those places. My catch tray, I got that online, thinking Amazon. In fact, I know it was Amazon. If you're looking for something that's this size, I'll put that down in the links, but it's up to you because this whole system was built upon my sizing of these two things. So your sizes will vary, but I want to go through the concept and my thought pattern as to how I made this, just so that if you decide you want to do something similar, you've got the basics of what my thoughts were, which ought to scare you to death. So here we go. I'm going to go through my thought pattern so you can see some of the design reasons for this. Let me go through just the basic thought process of what I was looking for. Number one, I wanted it to be portable. I wanted stackability. I wanted it to be a small package that I didn't have to have a lot of storage space, but it had to be able to function. I really first went out and decided on the pans that I wanted. I wanted a big tray because I collect tons of wax. And this is just one of, I think, 4 buckets I've got of about this much wax. And I still have at least 2 extractions to go. So it needed to hold a lot of wax, which would mean this had to hold a lot of wax, but I could only hold as much wax in here as I can hold in here. Anyway, so everything was based around these 2 sizes. Then if you wanted to make it, I didn't want there to really be any major parts and clamps and whatever. I wanted it to just slip together. So I said before, I cut everything out. I did these in advance. They're 1x2s. What are these for? My sides. So my sides go in thusly. Then I have my back. And you can see how that goes. Then we're gonna have the front, but I'm not gonna put the front on right now so you can see what's going on. But I needed to be somehow able to keep all this really sturdy and steady. That's where these side pieces come in. So I put these on the side, and you're gonna see in a few minutes, I'm going to put some pins. My pins are just some nails that I found in the garage that are gonna work perfect for this. I'm gonna be able to make these as a pin so that everything stays steady while I'm using it. It's pretty simple. Then on the inside of it, I'm going to need to hold this tray up a little bit. This board is going to do that. The tray will be held up above the top of the pan. This board will also serve as a backstop so the pan can't go back any further, can't really go forward, so I'm not going to have any issues with wax going all over the place. This is going to sit on top of that board, up against the backboard here. I'm going to modify these little parts so that on the backboard I will have a ledge for those to sit on and just a little front stop to keep it from going anywhere. So it's going to sit up against the back and that'll hold that in place. Then it's simply a matter of put the wax in, we put the top on. I'll show you that process once we get to it, or actually I just showed it to you a little bit ago. But I'll go into detail about how I pack that and what I use, and that's it. Then when I'm done, I don't really have any cleanup because this is my only cleanup are these two pieces. And I'm hoping that all we're going to be able to do, or I'm not hoping, I know that all I have to do then is just take all the pieces apart, stack them. Guess that doesn't quite fit. And be on our way. So let's commence to putting this baby together. I need to get my space cleared to make sense. The very first thing we're going to do is going to be the sides. I am going to need the back right now. And I need my two side pieces. And I had these marked. That's the front. So I'm going to start with the back pieces here. Now, what I want to show you is that I've got a small overlap here at the back. The side comes up against that. This board, which is my back, will fit on that small shelf. It goes all the way to the end. And my side piece goes in and runs up snug against that. And then we talked about the pin part. The board is going to be attached to the side board. So we're going to do that first on both sides. Attaching our boards is going to be a pretty simple process in that I am simply going to turn this over. I'll use this as a brace. Glue bot. If you haven't bought a glue bot yet, buy a glue bot. I've talked about this in so many different videos. This is the handiest thing to ever have. And then the second thing you need is Titebond 3. I am not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. If Titebond wanted to send me a case, I'd say, hey, Titebond sent me a case of this stuff. Thank you very much. But this is the go-to for me and for most beekeepers. It just works. It just works. Just trust me. Trust me, it works. Trust me. First, then what I need to do is take a little of my glue from my glue bot, clean the edge because Dave forgot to put the cap back on last night. Then I am simply going to check a second time. I know this is the outside. I'm going to run a bead of glue on that. Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Yes, because it takes just a second. I need this even on the top, and I'm going to staple it. But before I staple, Dave is going to check something out. Number one, I don't do anything with staple gun without my glasses on. Number two, before you check anything, pull your air off of it. I might have nails that are too long. Instead of going into the blooper reel, I'm going to get shorter nails. Still too long. Ah! These will work. And they're either 7/8 or 1 inch. Doesn't matter. I don't just need them to hold that board on. I've talked about this staple gun before. It was cheap. This is not for fine woodwork, but man, this thing just plugs right along and does exactly what I want it to. So I'm gonna have everything evened up here. My glue is down. Make sure everything's tight and even. And we're just gonna put some staples into it. Actually, nails. Then we're going to repeat that same exact process because we need this on the front as well. So I'm just gonna turn this around. Make sure everything is lined up, tightened down, exactly where I want it. And there you go, that's side one. Now the test. Duh. I freaked out for a second. I thought, oh my God, I built it backwards. And you're all going, yeah, pretty much par for you, Dave. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So it's already steady because we've got that on that. Okay, we'll build the other side. Side two, we'll put side one over here, out of the way. Side two, just like side one. This is my outside edge, my front, and a little bit of glue. Doesn't take a lot. This isn't really supporting anything, but it's gonna hold it for me. Everything is even and square. Turn around, do the front. Keep your fingers out of the way when you nail too. 3 should be fine. I don't know why I'm over nailing. Okay, look at this now. We have our 2 sides. So now it's time to start to work on the back. And the back is simply going to be held in place with the pins I'm going to be making. So I want to get these perfectly even and grab my clamps. We're going to square up and we're going to clamp. So everything is held tight together. I'm going to do that same thing on the other side. Push the board in, get everything even, and clamp. Now this is how I exactly want my back to look. I want everything to be completely even here. And then I'm going to drill my pinholes. I'm going to put another clamp on this to keep it from moving while I'm drilling. Is it ever possible to have too many clamps? I don't think so. I'm going to slide this down a little bit. And up. And slightly over. And that's exactly where I want it. So now I have already sized my pins with this drill bit. I'm planning here to put pins in the bottom, which I'm going to have to be careful with there, and in the sides, to hold everything even and in place. Just a little tad off there. So we're going to put a pin in. I think I am going to go all the way through. And that's how exactly how I want that to work. I'm going to do one in the bottom also. And then I need to keep everything from sliding. And you can see that everything's sliding. So I can let this go now. I'm going to put another pin down just below that back one. And that will keep everything from sliding forward on me. And that should do it. That should keep everything pretty tight. At least we're going to check and see. Because I just need these to pretty much stay in place. The cover is going to go over the top of this and hold everything in place. These are really placeholders, I think, more than anything, just so things don't slip. So we're going to go through. I'm going to do the other side. Back is done. Let's move on to the front. Front will be the same process. And I do think I may come back and saw off the end of these pins just so I don't have a sharp nail there, but I'll have to decide that. If it was for public use, it'd probably be a different thing. So again, I want everything even. And clamp. And clamp. You know, I really don't think it matters where. I just want 2 pins on one side and then the one other pin down at the bottom. Push that together, push that in. And ta-da. And then the other side. And again, I don't think this is that big of a deal because when I have the top on, everything will be held tightly together because I'll make sure that there's very little tolerance between the tops, so everything just stays pretty snug. Shouldn't be an issue. Let's continue to do the front. I'm even. I might as well just do it while I'm here, right? And I'm going to have to go get more pins, but I'm at least going to get these 2 sides done. And there you have it. So that's my basic box at this point. Okay, I'm still rethinking this, that I don't want to let these fall off, especially if I don't have a top on. So I'm going to think through this in just a second here. But anyway, so that's my basic box. I'm going to start working on the inside of it here. I said a minute ago, it's like, oh, I'm not too worried about these. It's going to be tight on the top. I actually do have to worry about the back falling off because I don't want my pan to fall. But I also realized, thinking through building this whole crazy thing, that I have a board that is going to run across the back here. And I'm going to be able to put a pin into that board because that board will be glued to this and that will hold the back on, so I won't have any issues there. So let's get moving on the back. So in the back, I've made a mark here. I'm sure it's hard to see, but that's where I want the top of my tray to go. So that's 4 inches, because what happens then is also the front of my tray in the front is 4 inches down from the front. So that's the mark I made in that. But what I need to do, pull this out and just do some basic adjustment to where things will sit. And I know that this board is where this is going to rest. So I just want to be able to eyeball that and get it into place. Then I'm just going to get a pencil and mark it in. Just a quick measure to see how close I actually was. What do we got? 7.5, 7.5. I can't believe I did that. It's 5 3/4, 5 3/4. Perfect. I don't know how this stuff happens. Sometimes it does. You know me. We're going to put this over here. I'm going to put this back on because I need to mark exactly where on the edges that board goes, because this board on the side will be my pin to hold the back cover from falling out. So I need to be able to mark exactly where that needs to go. And if that's my line down here, I can line this up, that up, and I can slowly take the back out and carefully mark my edges. And now I know exactly where I need to glue and nail that down. My pins, they're falling everywhere. We're going to move this out of the way for just a moment so I can put my board on. Glue bot. Put that in place. I'm going to clamp. And for security purposes, and I know that I'm right along that line along here, and I will nail in. Can take this off and glue it, nail at the end. Ah, just kidding. So there you have that. Now, I cut this small piece to just act as the ability so the tray can't slide off. So that will go on thusly. So I'm going to put that on real quick. And it really doesn't matter where this goes as long as it's somewhere it looks like it's in the middle. This ends up. And again, I'm just going to eyeball that real quick. Get our gun. Sorry. I'll take this moment to clean up while the compressor's doing its thing. Do a little bit of a glue squirt there. We're going to take that out. Now we're going to put the pins into these side pieces here. So again, let me pin this up. And I need to know how far down. What I'm going to do is I'm putting pins here and here, which will then prevent the back from coming off when I've got the whole thing loaded. But I need to know where to put that. One simple way to do that is to just bring this up, bring that down, and know that it's right there. Pin. Same thing on this side. And again, the front's not going to matter as much because the front will hold that in. And then after everything's melted, that's going to give me an easy access to pull out the tray. So again, let's just measure down how far. Pins are in, things are tight. So now the back won't fall off or can't fall off. And then my next piece to put in is, I can take this off and show you, is the board that will go here. And again, I don't really need to pin these sides in, they're just fine. This board will sit thusly. The pan slides in, and I will just simply adjust the pan to where I want that, and that pan fits exactly where I want it. All the holes are going to go toward the front. Did I discuss the front? Did I discuss the holes? You got to have a way for the wax to get out of here and into here. I'm going to I'm going to drill a series of holes in here that will allow the wax to drain out. I need it in about that far. Actually, I'm going to move it up just a tad. We'll do a quick test of the front. You can't see that, but it's perfect. No, really, trust me. No, it is, it is. And I am going to mark this location. The tricky part is going to be getting this to be glued and nailed. So I'm actually going to take everything apart so I can toenail in to keep that up. And then we are done with the body. Then comes the top. It's working. And this will be the last piece to be putting on. Glue bot. Just going to put a little glue on the end. Glue on the end. This doesn't have to be crazy precise. Then let's trade out nails, something a little bit longer. See how much I like this little gun? And we're just going to try to toenail in a few. Actually, I'm going to go this angle at this. 2 for 1 on that. And then I'm just going to hammer these down a little bit. Just so I don't have any sharp edges to be grabbing onto. There you have it. That's in place. Now, let's put this whole thing back together. Sides. Sides. Hey, it's my first time. Give me a break. Side. Back. Now let's pin everything. So there we have that. Now we are going to put in, okay, I know it's driving you nuts, it's driving me nuts too. There, it's out, it's out. Tray fits in. Front slides on. Get the front in place and the front slides on. Okay, hey, you're learning this with me. And there you have it. All we need is a top and some paint. I got an extra nail someplace. We'll find it. Where am I missing? Got him there, got him there. It's always good to have a spare. But there you have it. Now, the next step, we're going to make the top. I'm going to show you how to cut some plexiglass. And then when we're done with that, we paint her up. We're getting close. I'm happy with this. I'm crazy happy with this. Okay, here we go. Time for the top. I'm pretty excited because we're getting close here. I need to clean up a bit. I am going to need that drill bit again because we're going to need pilot holes for the plexiglass. And I'm going to just move this over to give me some space to work on this top. Pretty simple. We're just talking 4 boards here. I know those of you who've been watching my videos are laughing right now going, this is a disaster waiting to happen. But trust me on this. Well, I shouldn't say that. Let me make sure I have the right size. Okay, so these are the front and the back. And the way I've designed this, the sides will come up against this. So I am going to use my corner brace just to make sure I've got everything square. This is a pretty cool little tool. Just does a great job of making sure that everything's squared up. If I was thinking about a little bit more money, I'd buy several of them. Oh, that's off because I ripped these down, so there's going to be a little bit of a variance. But again, this is not critical. Okay, that's going to be fine. Guess what I forgot to do? Glue bot. Just attach a glue here. Everything squared back up. All is good. And just a couple nails, and that'll hold it. Did you know these things have an air? If you didn't, you just saw my hair blow up. That one's done. Now let's just do the other sides and hopefully make sure this thing fits. And we are done with that for the time being. Now we're going to make sure this thing fits. Keep your fingers crossed or something. Okay, dokie. The moment of truth has arrived. So real quick, that corner brace works great. This is also a really, really cool tool. You take these 4 corner and you put them around, tighten it down, and it makes everything perfectly square. Very handy thing, especially if you're making big pieces. Anyway, let's put that back there. Little Mr. Bear goes back up here. I thought they'd sell like crazy. Nope, 0, none. Nobody wanted it. Okay, let's see here. That's exactly what I want. There we go. Okay, I was a little bit concerned because after I cut these pieces, I was eyeing them up thinking, uh-oh, I didn't fully account for the angle, and I didn't want to angle this. I just want a square box. It's just easier, and this obviously is going to fit just fine. Okay, we're on to what will be the second to last phase, and that is to cut the plexiglass. But we're not going to put it on right away, because the reason for that is I want to paint everything. Obviously, it has to be a dark color to really attract the heat. You've seen them. They're usually always black. I want to paint this before I put the plexiglass on because it makes life a lot easier. And then I just come back in and put the plexiglass on. And then we'll be done. Then we're going to get the chance to test this thing. Ha ha ha. Well, wait, test it? You already saw it, didn't you? So there's a couple of different ways to cut plexiglass. Up to 3/16 of an inch. An X-Acto knife works really pretty good. And that's what I'm going to use on this because what I have is just under 3/16 of an inch. If you had thicker acrylic plexiglass, whatever, you can use a jigsaw. You just need to have a tooth count on your blade of over 10 teeth per inch. And you got to be careful. You got to tape it. I've done it that way and it works, but we're going to use an X-Acto knife and the snap method. So I'm going to show you that in just a second. But first, I need to take this apart and get it out of the way so we have room to work. But this is also going to show you just how. I have not figured out quite yet what I'm going to do with all of my pins so that I don't lose them in between my uses of these. But for right now, that's working just fine. We will find out a good way to stack this at a later date. But I got to tell you, that isn't looking so bad, especially when you think about the fact that I'm going to be able to set this probably inside or whatever. And now we got room to work. Plexiglass. Now, if you watch my renderer wax in two different ways, this is the piece of plexiglass that I was using with that, and it just barely fits. Well, that sucks. Okay, so guess what? You should measure twice, cut once. Or can I make this thing work by adding an additional piece? I think I'm going to try, okay? Didn't I say something about the top should be pretty easy? Okay, so I've got this gap right here. Obviously that doesn't work. But here's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm going to cut this and try to make that work. I've got some strapping tape, so I'm going to basically just cut out and see if it works. What am I out? Otherwise, I just unscrew it because I'm going to put screws in here because I really don't want to spend the money on the plexiglass. So let's add just a little bit to it. I don't want to drive to the store, so we're going to cut as is and see if we can make it work. I'm going to leave these two corners like that and mark my pieces. As God is my witness, I thought that would fit. And here's also what I want to do while I have this on here, because you score both sides of the plexiglass, and I'm going to need to have a mark on each side so that I'm at least close. So I'll mark that, and we have to cut this small piece off here. Changing my mind. We are going to cut these pieces off as well, and I'll take my piece to fit here and cut it from this piece, and we should be good. Time to set up and cut. Cutting is really pretty easy. Hey, we're going to get a little bit more light. Oh, look at that. But one thing that you need to do, get a straight edge. Now I'm not cutting all the way through. I'm just cutting to make enough that I can snap this off. So I'm going to do about 4 or 5 slices. Then we're going to flip it over, do 4 or 5 more slices. Then I'm going to snap it. And use a really sharp blade. And for God's sakes, don't cut yourself. Not sure why I'm hanging up there. flip it over. And 4 or 5 more slices. Now the moment of truth. I then move this to the edge of my workbench where the line is cut, and I'm putting my ruler back over the top, or my straight edge. I will clamp it down. And there you go. Smooth enough, close enough. And then if you want, while it's still clamped down, and there's some small pieces, you can still snap those pieces off if you want to. A little bit bigger. I could have done a better job, probably, of scoring this, but since I'm using it for what I'm using it for, I think we're going to be just fine. And I haven't said it to this point, but I'm also going to be taking duct tape and putting it over the edge of this, and that will get the sharpness off of it. It's going to create a little bit more of a seal for me too. Okay, we're going to do this side here, and then we'll have to cut out another piece. So let's see how that does. And again, if I was going to be using this for something that the look needed to be much better, actually what I'd probably do is change the saw blade on my table saw and put it to a fine tooth and use that to cut. So let's snap this off, and then we're going to get on with that small piece, and then we're going to be good to go. No, I really don't know how this is going to go, but we are going to try to figure it out. If I run it this way, you can see exactly what I'm doing. So the challenge, I think, is actually going to be the fact that I don't have a complete straight edge on this side, but I do really over here, and I'll just tape over the, because I'm just using the corner of this. I didn't want to cut a second time if I didn't need to. Again, this isn't critical. You just need the cover on it to generate heat. So what I'm going to do is actually use this edge to measure. And I'm at 1 3/4 inches. 1 3/4. So we're going to cut 1 3/4 inches off of this. Just going to make it happen. And one thing I didn't talk about earlier, and I didn't do it in the first one, I go back and forth. It just gets me a better even cut. This is a long piece, so I'm hoping for the very best. I think it's feeling pretty good. I think with this, I'm actually going to put the ruler underneath it as a sharper edge. You know what I'm going to do? Because I've done this before and it worked out. Well, not with these. I'll just use 2 of these clamps. Just does a better job of spreading the one small piece down here. Oops. And that's exactly what I didn't want to have happen. So now I have extra space to tape. It's disaster day, but we're going to make this all work, okay? And this will work. Trust me, it doesn't seem like it, but it will. I'm going to line up this edge. I'm going to have to piece this all together because Disaster Dave snapped it off. But this will all fit just fine. I'll just tape this whole thing over and everything should be good. Remember, I'm also going to put duct tape over the edge of these, so that should hold it together a little bit more. Okay, so plexiglass, probably not my strong suit. So do as I say, not as I do. The functionality won't be ruined by my inability to measure first off like I was supposed to do, or completely cut the way that I'm supposed to. Now we're going to take all this outside and paint. Not looking forward to that. We're still hot, like 100 degrees. Paint don't care. So let's get this thing painted up so we can get some wax melting. Well, famous last words again. Painting shouldn't be that difficult. I'm gonna semi-build this thing while I'm painting it. Remember, this is function. This has nothing to do with form. You don't have to be pretty. You just want it to be black so that it absorbs the heat. So I'm just gonna keep hitting it with some spray paint here. I'm probably not even going to paint the bottom of it. There's no real need. Easy peasy. Hit this. I'm gonna move the camera because the wind is blowing just that direction. Now the wind's blowing that direction. What the heck? So I'm kind of glad my sawhorses are black. There you have it, coat number one. I'm gonna put a second coat on this. We'll let it dry. It's so humid out here, it could take 2-3 years. But I also get to change my shirt because it's kind of hot and humid. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna put another coat on this. And then we're gonna go down, we're gonna put the plexiglass on the top. And I have to drill some holes in the paint tray. And I think we're ready to go. I'm excited to show it to you. So I'm letting everything else dry from painting and oops. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to take a few moments here and fix my little mess. This shouldn't be that big of a deal because for the most part, this whole system doesn't have to be a solid piece. So here's what I'm gonna do. I've got some strapping tape. It'll work just fine. That's how I'm gonna fix this issue. Look at that, like it never happened. Oh, for God's sakes. I'll flip it over to the other side. Or do I just leave it hinged? And will not impact the operation whatsoever. See, not a big deal. Everything's covered, good to go. Now we're going to take duct tape and put that just over and around the edge. Just seal off the sharp edges a little bit and make it a little bit easier for me to get screws into and through this. Okay, I'll find new scissors. I used to have scissors. Watch these not work any better. Oh, please be laughing with me. Some days, let's try this again, only this time I will just simply tear it off. And I'm going to cut this off on the end here. 2 edges, and then we're ready to screw this down. And that will be the second to last thing that we need to do. The last thing we'll have to do is, it'll come to me, drill holes in the pan. Sometimes I just have one of those days. And there you have it. Now we're going to get some screws, we're going to drill some pilot holes, and we're going to carefully attach this to the top, and then we're close. Just got some small little drywall screws. All I want to do is, I have them left, so that's what I want to use. And I will put a clamp just on this edge, just slightly, just to keep it from moving around. And I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws in to keep it from going anywhere. I'm going to use this, and I still have my 3/32 bit on it. And I'm just going to carefully put in a small pilot hole. Now the tricky part with these is that you want to be really super careful that you don't screw these down too tight. And I'm just going to snug them in. Hear that little cracking? That's why you don't want to screw them down too tight. I just want it held down. A little air leak isn't going to hurt, but I don't think I'm even going to get that. Oops. Look at that. Top is completed. No worse for wear, a couple little tiny cracks, but you know, it doesn't matter because I just need this to be clear and I think we're in good shape. So now we're going to tackle the pan. So the pan's got to have drain holes, the paint pan, because remember I'm going to fill this. Well, in fact, I'm going to show you a little bit. This is an ugly slub gum, but I am going to fill these paint bags with my wax cappings, just like my render wax video from about a year ago. I love these paint bags because they really get the wax looking great. This I did not do in the solar, but you can see how nice and pure and beautiful these come out. The paint bags, they just get everything out. This is only rendered twice, so I ran it through, got the original, and it's kind of yucky, and I run it through a second time, and they look beautiful. I'm going to get one single initial run out of this, and it'll go into the pan. Then I'll take what's in the pan, we'll melt that a second time. Probably not in here, more than likely in the double boiler in the back, because then I can take that and pour it into smaller little cubes. They're a little bit easier to work with. I've decided I'm going to use a 3/16. Yeah, a bigger drill bit, since I'm not worried really about wax and other gunk getting down into this pan because I'll be using the paint bags to fill this up. And I'm simply going to drill holes in the base here. Probably just a row of 2. We'll see how that works. Dump the shavings out. I can probably come back through and get those sharp edges off, but I put these pretty close to the edge because I didn't want the chance of me being, well, I built it so it can't, but being beyond that. And I am going to file that down because it didn't take long, and I'm bleeding because I cut myself on this. But Disaster Dave is at it again. So let's get that to stop bleeding. I will go get a file and I'm going to file these down. We're basically ready to go. But then again, you've already seen the outcome and we're hoping for the best. We're not hoping for the best. So yeah, I buy an excuse to buy everything. I'm going to use my Dremel with a little grinding bit on it, and that will take it down and make it smooth. That worked pretty well. I am going to touch the inside of these as well, just to make sure I don't rip my bag. And there you have that. So now we are getting close. I'm going to put everything back together, and I'm going to go out one more time and show you how I load the solar melter and show you the results. It's pretty exciting. Let's head outside. Let's make this whole thing happen. Okay, so we've got the waxer outside. It's set up. We're ready to go. But you got to have wax in it, right? So I want to show you, I use these paint bags for lots of things. I use them to strain my final wax out of. I use them for the initial. I've talked about them before. They work great. I got these again on Amazon. I think about 25 of them for, it was like 18 or 20 bucks. I'll include a link down below. They just work great. And I get multiple uses out of them. You get the slum gum in the bottom of this. I just crack that out, throw it away, fill it back up again, and let it go. I bet I get 8 or 10 initial waxes out of these before I go, enough, and throw it away. 70, 80 cents a piece, and I get that many uses out of them, it's worth it. So what do? Well, I'll take, a bucket of wax I got, and I've got tons of it. I'll kill that wax moth, believe it or not. Oh, Jesus. That's a little scary. Take the wax and just fill the bag. Just fill the bag full of wax. Now, the thing I think we're going to have to be careful with, there is only so much the bag below can handle. And this is why you probably shouldn't store wax. I actually have wax moth eggs in this bucket, and it's only been sitting here for about 10 days. So worth keeping an eye on because they are a nuisance. Yep, there it goes. You must die. That's not good to have around. I don't know where it went, but we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. And you can pack it in. I caught this in a nick of time. There are a ton of wax moth eggs in this bucket. I'll wipe my hand off. I like to find that wax moth and make sure I don't have them in here. Rinse my hand, and before you even make the comment, I have strainers above, strainers below in my sink so that I don't get wax down my drain. And a quick tie off, and we're ready to go outside. Let's go melt some wax. And here we go. Whoa. I think even without the solar wax melter, it's warm enough out here to not worry about it. Okay, so I put a thermometer on this. I want to see where it's at. Well, wax melts at 140 and it's at 136, and it's been out here for about 10 or 15 minutes. So let's put this in and see what happens. Let's keep the thermometer in just to see progress. Tray is in, wax is in. Let's cover up and let's, for fun, start stopwatch and start. We'll come back out and keep checking on this and see where it's going. Pretty exciting stuff. Oh, and it must be 2 o'clock because the sprinklers are coming on. Anyways, we'll be back to check this out in just a little bit. Oh, back in a few minutes. I don't think so. Okay, so we got some changes to make. I learned a little bit. What I thought was going to be a few minutes actually took me a lot longer. So we've got some adjustments to make. Number one, I'm going to show you what happened, and you can move this to the side. I can bring the wax out. Did it melt? It did, but it didn't drain. It sort of drained, but it didn't. Okay, here's the key. This took somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 days. Okay, so my stopwatch ran out of top power in time. Here's what I'm gonna do. I've determined that it does drain, but it doesn't drain fast enough. So did it work? It did. But here's my other issue. Put that there and let it drip on the floor. Here's my other issue is that, see all the gunk in there? I'd forgotten what I've been doing is I take, where's one that's ready? I take wax, put it in the paint bucket, and then rinse it. Don't dump this stuff down the sink, but rinse it, rinse it, rinse it. Get as much of the honey out as you can. You get some slum gum out, fill the bucket full of water, rinse the thing out, dump the water outside someplace, and then melt it. Okay, so mistakes, but we're learning from. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to duck away for a minute here. I'm going to scrape this wax out, and we're going to have to put bigger holes in here. That's all there is to it. And then I think things are going to go faster. So anyway, okay, I'm going to scrape this out and we'll be right back. And that's it. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and it is working really well. Extra holes I put in the bottom, that might be kind of hard to see, but these extra holes down here at the bottom made it all drain really well. I'm very pleased. Again, I'm not going to put dimensions or anything in the comments because it really is dependent upon what you've got and what works for you. I wanted you to see the concept. And the concept for me is going to be great because it's storage. It just breaks down to nothing. You saw that a few minutes ago. So that does it. I'm moving on from here. Thank you so much for watching. It's nice to be liked. If you haven't hit subscribe, please do. And as always, happy beekeeping. Hey, we'll see you soon. Thanks.